Good evening, everyone. So David apologizes, he's going to be a couple of minutes late. So we're just going to get started. We have a very packed agenda tonight. So the meeting is called to order at 6:30 p.m. All right, just some ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand through Zoom. You can raise your hand for Zoom by clicking the participants icon, and there should be a raised hand function. If you have any difficulties, please relay the message in the chat to the staff. So I think we could call the roll now. The chat function should only be used for CB11 business or questions about agenda topics. Please keep your questions pertaining to the conversations. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment, please raise your hand through Zoom and wait to be recognized. So, all right, now I think we could call the roll.
Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Angela Donadell,
Present.
David's coming later.
Yeah, he said he'll be here in like 10 minutes.
He just popped in.
Thank you. John Green,
Here.
Sage Mason,
Here.
Claudia Perez,
Present.
Asher Rodriguez,
Present.
Isaac Scott,
Present.
Russell Schuer,
Present.
and Jason Wu.
David's here.
Thank you, David. You have a call.
Just getting in the house. I'm gonna switch to the computer. Ash, why don't you get us started and then I'll take over.
All right.
Jason Wu just showed up as well.
Okay, I'll call his names for the record so he can announce himself. Jason Wu,
Present. Sorry, I was unmuting.
thank you. You have a call.
All right. Okay, so the agenda was distributed in advance, so if there's no objections, I think we could continue. Right? Raise your hand if you have an objection to the agenda. All right, seeing no hands. The meeting minutes. Did we have meeting minutes for last month, or I don't remember. All right. I think we could continue for now. All right, so first we have Debbie Quinones from Friends of Art Park Alliance. I saw she's in the attendees, so maybe we could, if there's some way we could allow for her to speak.
She can speak.
Okay,
Can you hear me now?
yeah,
Oh, great. Thank you so much for this opportunity to talk about the Friends of Art Park Alliance and our proposed programs for 2023 that include the development of a East Harlem Pride Youth event. The Friends of Art Park Alliance was founded in 2015, and we've been doing events in the park located on 120th Street between Lexington and 3rd. Our goal is to create a new cultural green hub that will kind of incorporate a lot of the diversity of the community, and as well as engaging annual programs. And one of those annual programs that we've been doing is the first Saturday of June is our East Harlem Pride kickoff event. We've done it for 3 years consecutively, and this year we're looking to have a youth-focused event, and we were hoping to partner with the community board to see, one, if they support the concept, two, if they'd like to participate in just putting together some of the programming, as well as in utilizing the park as a safe space for future youth rallies. If anyone wants to contact me, I'm available at drq104@yahoo. And, you could just look up Facebook and IG, the Friends of Art Park Alliance, and you can see some of the stuff that we've done. We have an annual tree lighting. We have an ugly sweater contest. We have a Latin jazz it's called Green Vibrations Latin Jazz Concert. And ultimately, we just want to activate the space and balance out some of the quality of life issues that are occurring there, like with all parks in East Harlem and in New York City, we face some of the challenges of homelessness and drug use, but we do have a good relationship with the Parks Department and the 2-5, and it's been moving forward towards a better place. And that's pretty much it.
All right. Thank you, Debbie. That's very interesting, and we will be in contact with you about maybe collaborating on that because it seems like an awesome idea. All right.
Great. Thank you so much.
All right, next slide. All right, do we have anyone from DOE on the call? Okay, so do we have, Rosa, would you like to give an update about CEC4?
Yes, thank you so much. I do have my little paper with me. Yes, good evening, everyone. Rosa Diaz, CC District 4 President. I wanted to let everyone know that we have passed and voted on a new resolution that I sent it to you guys on opposition to raising the New York City charter school cap, and instead in favor of limiting charter costs to the DOE budget and ensuring more oversight and accountability. That passed on February 8th. We adopted it. We sent it to DOE, and also wanted to let you guys know that Monday there was a district planning on a proposal for a high school swap. Again, everything is just a proposal. Nothing is being set in stone, and district planning will be proposing it to the PEP. I believe the posting might be out in a week or two, and I will let you know that. Mark your calendars for March 6th at 3:30. We will be holding a third discussion with district planning because our the East Harlem community partner parents and high school parents, they want to know more about this high school swap, and also the CEC applications have been extended from February 13th to February the 23rd, which is next week, I believe. I would like for everyone to please encourage your parents to run. And if they need support or if they don't know what it is, feel free to reach out to me or CEC4@schools.newyorkcity.gov. I will be more than happy to support them with any questions or any concerns that they might have. Our next meeting is scheduled for March the 8th, and if anyone have any questions, I am able to respond right now, or you can also email me for any questions. Thank you.
Right.
Let me just add
Angela?
something. Rosa,
Oh.
did you identify which schools they're talking about transferring? So they're talking about transferring Young Women's Leadership Academy to the west side and bringing the school from the west side, which is an alternative high school. And there were some concerns raised about the swap, although both principals and both superintendents are in support of this transfer, which will allow Young Women's Leadership Academy to expand. We are just concerned of the swap. Anyway, just wanted to add that. Sorry, Ash.
Angela?
Oh, that was what I was going to ask. Basically, what is a high school swap? But I'd like to understand, David, why would you're talking about Twills, right? They're going to move Twills, the Young Women's Leadership School?
Yes.
And take them west side where?
West side to where West Side High is, because they have
102nd.
more space than that's currently available at the current school, which would allow the school to expand.
And then we'll get an alternative school.
Yes, we'll get the school that is at that particular site.
So what is an alternative school?
An alternative high school is for those unfortunate individuals that were not able to stay on track, like in a
Okay.
normal 4-year education, and have fallen behind in either credits or age.
Okay.
You know, they provide, and full disclosure, my wife works for a charter alternative school. So again, there are different schools that meet different needs for different children. Right now, and again, this was just presented to us, Rosa, was like within less than 2 weeks. We just learned about, or I just learned about it within less than 2 weeks. And we are working through the CEC. We did ask the individual to come before Community Board 11, Youth and Education, and pretty much it was indicated that he only presents the CEC. So we are going to ask for a formal, presentation to the community board. And in part is, sometimes, we have a practice in this community that Young Women's Leadership has done really great at developing many of our young women from middle school to high school. And we want to ensure that we continue to match the same number of kids from this community that can benefit. So East Harlem in itself only has 3 high schools that are non-charter high schools. And this is kind of the dilemma. There's other high schools throughout the city. District 2 has maybe 20 of them by themselves, if not more. So the concern is again, taking out one of the, formative schools. And, again, I guess this, for me, it also ties into the Avalon project on 96th Street, where we were supposed to get rebuilds for 3 schools. Central Park East High School, offhand, I'm just forgetting. But, those spaces were going to still be built, as we heard through the community board, but not necessarily put the 3 schools that were originally identified. Remember, we had a big community board meeting and advocate. So there's a lot of movements going on with schools, and we want to make sure that, East Harlem already does not, District 4 does not have many high schools. So many of our children now have to leave the neighborhood to go get high school. And not that they shouldn't leave and get other experiences, but again, there's not a lot of parity in who has high school. So we actually have 1 high school in our district that's District 4 and belongs to community, and that's Esperanza, who also could expand and could benefit from additional space. But, if Dr. Christie was on, she could also help fill us in on some of that. And we do have Imani here, who I'm sure can also share some light on it maybe as well. But I'll turn it back over to Ash. Rosa, I see your hand up, so do you want to say something?
Yeah, I wanted to say, not that they refuse to come into the Community Board 11, right? But this proposal is not public yet. So right now, what their district planning is doing is gathering community input. And obviously, because we're in District 4, CEC falls under that, and they just wanted to have everyone included. And I wanted more transparency. That's why we had them come in a couple of times, actually. Monday of last week, Wednesday, they met with us this Monday also. And we are going to have them come in when they actually made the proposal to the PEP, which is, I believe in 2 weeks. And then we can have, a more productive meeting on March 6th, where we know that they already made a proposal, because it's not public just yet.
Well, if they're reaching out for community input and we're the community, then we should be considered in that input as well. DOE, if we're only going to the DOE community, then we're not going to the larger District 4 East Harlem community. So I beg to differ, Rosa, and I'm sorry I couldn't make that meeting yesterday. However, it is really important that they meet with the larger community, because there were agreements made in making sure that certain opportunities are available for East Harlem students. And we wouldn't want to lose that in the school going to another community. And we know that can happen. We know we lose opportunities in our own community because promises made are not promises always kept. So, Ash, I'll turn it back over to you unless Angela or Rosa. Angela, is your hand up new?
Yeah, my hand is up new. Rosa, so I want to ask you, what is your thought, just on a very basic level, about that swap?
I cannot speak on personal thoughts, but I wanted to add, David, just in case that they are meeting with their community school this Thursday. And I am more than willing to invite you to the meeting because again, this was just for CEC members, but I wanted to open it to everyone. Like I always like transparency, especially in the East Harlem community, because whatever I know, I want everyone to know. Again, I will have them come in and they have said, yes, we'll come in because we want to hear from everyone. This email was sent to everyone. And I'm sure Angela received it too, because I make sure that everyone is included, including Community Board 11, you know? Thank
Right,
you.
Rosa, but you know what? When people
No.
say they want to meet with the community, but we're only going to say, we're going to meet over here in this little part and not with the rest of the community, I have issues. And I'm part of the DOE community, right? Because I am a CEC member. So I only am aware because of being a CEC member. Other than that, we may not be aware, Rosa.
Yeah, I didn't know about that. And I read my emails. But that just
Oh.
seems really concerning because that is a really good school for girls in our community that seem to be doing well. It seems that I'm not saying that their swap is it's not an equal swap. It doesn't feel like an equal swap, but I don't have any other information to base that on.
But I'll say this, Angela, and Rosa's also asked for the principals and superintendents to be included, so we make sure we hear their voices. But from our understanding is the principals support this. Again, they want to grow the school and there's space that's unoccupied. And technically, if we leave space too long unoccupied in a DOE building, it becomes partly charter building, you know? So I think that the move to expand young women's leadership is a good one. It has been a good school.
Right.
I want to ensure that we don't lose the relationship and the opportunities for East Harlem young. And being a father of 5 daughters, yes, I'm going to make sure that we keep our place that's right with our community and continue. I've worked with a lot of kids that have went to both the middle and high school, and I see and really how they benefited from being part of that community.
So will the children from this side of town still be able to go to the high school over there if they choose to?
Yeah, well, see, most high schools in the city are citywide. So even young
understand.
women's leadership, and that's why it's easier for DOE to look at it because it's a citywide school. You're not limited. But
Okay.
again, and somebody in the meeting the other day had mentioned, there were promises made to community. There's relationships, we develop practices. And where we are limited in the opportunities for quality middle high schools that, transition one to another, where we have it in this community, we wouldn't want to lose it, but we wouldn't want to stop them from growing either, right? We wouldn't want to stop them from expanding, giving more youth opportunity to benefit from the school. So it's like one of them catch-22 situations, right?
That's understood.
And this is not really falling under D4 where it would affect D4 of the school grades and those kinds of things, because it's a citywide high school, So I know one of the things, Dr. Christie, and she speaks better for herself, she's advocating that Esperanza, which is one of our schools in District 4, to expand and given the opportunity to grow because the high school and middle school are together, So again, it's just one of those things, but we should be included. We should have a voice, and we should not look at just the DOE part of the community because this affects the entire community. Sorry, Rosa, that's me.
I just wanted.
Xavier was supposed to send me your contact so we can connect, but after this meeting, let's make sure we connect.
Yeah. I just want to butt in because Angela asked exactly where the swap would be, like where to. I just checked. It's 102nd Street between Amsterdam and Columbus.
Right. It's inside the NYCHA Frederick Douglass housing. That's an interesting school because I watched when they built it. And what they actually built it is a bunch of trailers that they put together and made into space and then surrounded it. But conversation for another day.
All right. Is anyone from CEC 5 here? Wait, first of all, is there any more questions for Rosa before we continue? Because I don't want to necessarily shut anyone down. Okay. Is anyone from CEC 5 here? I don't see anyone, so. All right. District Attorney's Office.
That's Imani. Imani's
Yeah.
here from the district attorney.
Hello.
Hi, Imani.
Good evening. Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. As some of you know, my name is Imani. I'm an education coordinator, and this is my second meeting. I'll be attending these meetings regularly. I know you are all used to Marco, but I will now be taking over these meetings for him. So I wanted to let you all know that we have open applications for our high school internship. Applications opened on January 30th, and they're slated to stay open until March 1st. It is a paid internship and it will be in person from the months of July through August. Interns will have the opportunity to come down to our office in Chinatown and be paired with district attorneys and learn a lot more about what we do at our office. It's a great way for them to build their resume and just learn a little bit more about what we do as a prosecutor's office, as well as gaining a better insight into the criminal justice system as a whole. We will be also having a resume workshop next week where all students citywide are invited to come down to our office, and they will be paired with a Danny staff member where they'll learn how to create or strengthen their resumes. Next week, we will also be having an info session for the high school internship program, and I'll provide information on all of these initiatives and events we have coming up. But I also wanted to introduce the new director of the Harlem office, Courtney Bennett. He's on the call as well, but he's listed under my name. So Courtney, if you wanted to unmute, feel free to do so.
Good evening. Courtney Bennett, sorry I'm off camera. I'm driving and trying to be safe, but I will be attending some of these meetings along with Imani to get a good feel for what's happening with education and Community Board 11. I'm Harlem born and raised, so I'm very familiar with all things Harlem, and I'm looking to become more familiar with what's happening on the east side. Marco will still be plugging in to some meetings as we want to make sure that everyone stays well informed. So it's a pleasure to meet everybody, and please continue having your excellent meeting.
Thanks, Courtney. Does anyone have any questions for us?
So Imani, just so you know, I also work with Children's Aid Society, and I work out of the Lexington Academy PS 72. And we have an elementary and middle school program. Last year, Marco brought one of the dating violence groups to do a little thing with the kids. So I would definitely love to set up another time to, bring them out as it's coming up into this.
Yes, absolutely. I'm happy to work with you to get that schedule. I'll reach out to you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no more questions for the district attorney's office, is anyone here from Youth Construct?
We welcome you, Imani. Thank you.
I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. I guess we could go
Yeah,
to the
I
next
think
slide.
that was left on. I didn't know if they were going to come back every month, but that's when they came back and gave an update after we gave them a letter of support. So I think that's done and not taken off. Go ahead, Ash. You're doing so well.
Oh, okay. Playground, New York. Zoe Fortin. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your last name. Is there anyone from? I think I saw. Yeah. Okay.
Yes. Hi, I'm here. I didn't mispronounce it. Thank you, though. Do I have permission to share my screen? Let me try.
I am not sure.
You can share your screen.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Molly.
Could someone give me a thumbs up if you see that?
Yeah, my thumb is there.
Yeah, I could see it. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Well, thanks everyone for having me. I just wanted to introduce Playground NYC quickly. I think our organization might have joined you all a few years ago, but I thought I'd give you a quick update about our nonprofit. We were founded in 2016 and we've rapidly expanded our programs all over the city, but we haven't done a ton in East Harlem, which is why I wanted to present our programs and see if there might be opportunities for collaboration. As our name may indicate, we focus on play in New York City. And play is so central to children's lives, as I'm sure all of you know, that it's protected by the UN Convention of a Child. And when they usually say that, people tell me, well, why do you need a nonprofit if it's so natural to children? But we really look at where and how children play in the city and the barriers to play and how we can support this. There are several barriers we see as a nonprofit. One of them is the omnipresence of cars. One of them is the emphasis on test scores. And one of them is poor urban design and playground design. And I'll address some of these today, but this is what we focus on. And I like to usually start these meetings by asking everyone how they played as a child or what's their favorite memory of playing as a child. And if you want to put that on the chat, I would love to see it. Because usually what adults tell me is that they played outside with peers and usually doing something that felt away from adult supervision, even if parents might completely have known what they were up to. And so based on that, we try to recreate opportunities for play in the city, in all 5 boroughs, and really ask ourselves where children can play in New York City these days. And the reason this all matters is because there's now tremendous research supporting the fact that play supports mental health, physical health, learning in school, all kinds of goals we're all trying to accomplish for our youth. The main problem we see is that most playgrounds in our city look like this, which is not supporting children's play to the best of our abilities. A lot of playgrounds don't have any shade, don't have working bathrooms, water, and a lot have the same equipment that looks like this, and that doesn't really support kids of all ages or the sort of variety of types of play that kids need to develop. This type of playground does really well for kids to like develop motor skills up to 4 or 5 years old. But if you've ever seen a 6, 7, 10-year-old play, they don't really want to go up and down the slide anymore. Which is why in 2016, we opened the only adventure playground in New York City. It's called The Yard. It's inspired by a long tradition of adventure playgrounds in Europe. They were first developed in Denmark in the 40s. The Yard is located on Governor's Island, which I realize is not super close to you all, but it's open for free every weekend from April to November. And we welcome about 10,000 kids for free every weekend, every year, excuse me. What an adventure playground looks like is kids have access to a lot of different materials. So it might look like this, where they have paint and lumber and costumes and arts and crafts. And we really support sort of like the variety of play that kids can come up with. So instead of focusing on swings and slides and motor skills, we encourage their creativity, collaboration, risk-taking. This is another picture from The Yard. Not sure what's going on here. He had built this slide all day and then realized he couldn't fit through, but he was very proud. Outside of The Yard, we also bring our play programs all over the city. This looks like pop-ups where similarly, we bring tons of different materials. Usually they're recycled materials to open streets or parks. On the left, it was in Fort Greene, Brooklyn. In the middle is in East Flatbush. On the right, we're in Sunset Park, and really give kids ownership of how they want to play and their materials. This has a little bit more masks because it was started the pandemic. We didn't quite know that we could have done differently. These are the neighborhoods we've played in recently, but again, very interested to know if this type of programming might be able to support what you all are doing in your neighborhood. Outside of the yard and pop-ups, we also work a lot with schools. Again, now there's great research showing that play can be incredibly beneficial to learning in and outside the classroom. So what we usually do is bring a ton of materials to recess or after school. This was a school in Brooklyn where, again, we brought a ton of recycled materials and costumes you can see in the background and let the kids really play. I think what we heard from teachers in the pandemic is that they were willing to move a lot of their programming outside, but this sort of empty Black recess stop wasn't really doing it for a lot of kids. There was just, the few kids who play basketball and then not a ton of options for the other kids. So we bring a different set of materials, our play workers, we train the teams in school to really supervise that kind of recess and encourage children to play together in new ways. And the feedback has been amazing from schools. At first the teachers are like, oh my God, they're gonna come back in the classroom so dirty. And they do, I'm not gonna lie, but they've also formed new friendships, collaborated, problem solved, all kinds of skills that the teachers then see in the classroom. This is what it looks like inside. We were in a public school in Bed-Stuy recently. It was a bit too cold to be outside, but same kind of skills and learning happening with indoor materials. We also offer a lot of professional developments for caregivers and teachers, or really anyone who's interested in supporting children's play. This was a group of 20 DOE educators who joined us at the yard in 2022. And again, I just want to really emphasize that we do all of this because play is not frivolous. We see, kids processing their world through play, experimenting, risk-taking, which leads to lower risk of anxiety later in life. There's, again, tremendous research, which is on our website if anyone's interested. We also see play as a great tool for teachers to engage with their children. This was in front of PS 32 in the Bronx. We had the science teacher come out and tell us that their kid, this particular class, never wanted to participate in science class, but suddenly they're like mixing like vinegar and baking soda and experimenting without even realizing that they're doing the kind of science stuff that they are being asked to do in the classroom. And this was a closed street in front of a school. It was closed every Tuesday. It was a great success because it also offered some kind of after school activity for a lot of families who don't have that kind of option where they could just let their kids play in a safe street and hang out and meet each other. We've also heard a lot from teachers who tell us the kind of play programs we provide help their children, process reality. This was at the yard. Again, you see a lot of recycled materials, and these kids played out a COVID scenario all afternoon, which they obviously needed to express and sort of deal with the trauma we had all gone through together as a city. But again, the teachers were like, oh my God, I can't get them to start talking about that kind of stuff in the classroom. But then suddenly, they're like playing out this scenario and really working through a lot of feelings. So those are just sort of a few examples of what we do. And then we also, through these pop-ups and programs, empower teachers, parents, caregivers, and try to show them how they can replicate some of this stuff at home or in the classroom or in smaller settings without spending a ton of money. We know a lot of teachers are strapped for materials and resources, and really showing everyone how they can think creatively and encourage play and all of its benefits with recycled resources mostly. So this is what we do. And when I first reached out to the community board, I was really interested in talking to you all about 4 projects we're looking at right now. And I'll put some more details in the chat or in my contact information if any of these might be helpful to what you're doing in the neighborhood. But the first one is that we're looking for a new location. We are really running out of space on Governor's Island. 10,000 kids a year is sort of the limit of in terms of number we can accommodate safely. And also, with no surprises, we're not seeing a ton of families show up from uptown, the Bronx, Queens, South Brooklyn. So we're looking at a lot of different lots to open a second adventure playground. So just putting that out there for everyone. We also have a small grant from the Lego Foundation, which is available right now to any New Yorker who's interested in supporting more play, whether it's in a school or a community garden or an open street. I'll put the link in the chat, but it's $500 and the process to apply is quite easy. So I encourage everyone to take advantage of it. We also have a full scholarship for our summer camp. Again, it's in Governor's Island. I know it's not super easy, but it's a full scholarship for all families who receive SNAP benefits. I'll put the information in the chat, but if you know families who could use the opportunity, please encourage them to reach out. And then we are also looking at Play Street collaboration. So our pop-ups are super popular and they're also most impactful when we're able to come back to a location multiple times. To the left, you'll see a picture, an old picture of a New York City Play Street. Some of you might remember growing up like this. To the right is what we've done in Sunset Park recently, which was equally beautiful. And I know there's a few open streets in your neighborhood. I know there might be folks who are applying currently for new open street permits for the summer and the fall, and we'd love to collaborate and see how we can bring our programming, co-run the space with you, bring our expertise, materials, and team to provide more play for kids in East Harlem. I'll put my contact information here, but I'll put it also in the chat, and completely open to all collaborations and ways this might support what you're doing. So thanks again for having me.
So I'm hoping.
And I'll take questions if there are.
Yes, I'm hoping 101st Street will. Children's Aid Society used to run a play street there, and we just closed down the center there a couple of years ago, and they still do an open street there on the weekend and Fridays. This would be great for them. But let me ask you this question. We work at a PS 72 Lexington Academy, and we have this giant yard. And in the summer, we do the summer rising program, where kids are in classrooms in the daytime. And then at 12 o'clock, they transfer to the CBOs to do wonderful activities. Could this be something that could come one day, or like you said, one day a week, and we could circle every age group through it through the 7 weeks of program and kind of look at it like that? You know, just reach out to you and do the application, or?
Yeah, absolutely. We've done it in all kinds of settings: recess yards, community gardens, school streets. So yeah, wherever there are kids, we're willing to show up.
No, great. I'll speak to the principal, because you know we work in collaboration and we do many things together, have our carnival and do, you know, educational programs together. But this will be, I think, a great opportunity. You know, like you said, play. My thing was we just went out in the street and did whatever we did, right? We didn't have all these. We played belt, hot piece and butter. You know, I don't know if any of y'all know that. You know, Ring-a-Lario, where you went and chased each other and had to grab them and hold them. But you know, sometimes the most imagination can spark the greatest play. So you know,
absolutely.
And I'll say this: I have 5 daughters. All of them have played with the boxes. You buy them these wonderful gifts, and then they're sitting and want to play. Come back from Costco. Give me the boxes, Dad. Don't throw them out, right? So
absolutely. And I think a lot of families would be inclined to do this, but you know, you walk out your door and you have a ton of cars. It's harder to let the kids run loose. One, and then there's this culture, I think, of, you know, being constantly enrolled in school or activities or play dates, and this pressure to keep up. So as much as we can help sort of not lower the bar, because it's not lesser, you know, a lesser quality of play, but just show that there are other alternatives than all these paid options that families feel constant pressure to like pay into.
So we have Angela and then Rosa in the order. So Angela, please.
Hello. I just wanted to ask, what are the backgrounds of the individuals that brought this together? Are you educators? Are you social workers? Are you psychiatrists? Like, what brought you to this? We know in early childhood, play is how children learn, period.
Yeah.
They learn about the world around them through playing, and people sometimes don't understand that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I think early childhood gets it a little bit better than 6 to 12. We tend to focus on 6 to 12 because there's I think great understanding, thank God, finally, that very early years benefit from play, but then 6 to 12 is when we see like test scores and other pressures come in, and really the emphasis on play really declining, even though those kids still need to play. It looks different, but they still play. To answer your question, God, all of these things. Some of us are trained as educators, some are and have, I'm not gonna lie, some of them have had their hesitations with the school system and have wanted to find other ways to support children. Some are performers. We have a circus performer on the team. We have someone who is training to be a therapist on the team. We have someone who is training to be a social worker on the team. We have people who've come to this work like me because they were parents and frustrated by the options available. Urban planners. That's the mix, I think.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rosa, go ahead, please.
Hi, yes, thank you. Thank you, Zoe, for the presentation. I have a concern. Where do you get these recycled materials from? And do you guys double check for safety concerns before the kids play with them? That's all. Thank you.
Yeah, I have a longer answer to this, but the short answer is they come from God everywhere. Donations from businesses. On Governor's Island, there was just a big construction project and they left a lot of stuff behind that they gave to us. Grow NYC gives a lot of stuff to us. Schools, hardware stores, art stores, a lot of families who come to our programs, when their kids cycle out of toys or bikes, they donate it to the program. So everywhere is the answer. We do have very thorough safety check processes. I will say our approach to risk, I think, is a little unconventional for New York. We think there can be value in risk taking for kids, in evaluating a situation and letting a kid decide if they're going to engage with it or not, and without interrupting, being there to support, but without directing or interrupting. We spend a lot of time thinking about this and have kind of serious protocols to do this. And I'll just add one more thing is our philosophy, which is the field of play work, which is a concept that's much more integrated in education in Europe. In play work, we make a big distinction between a risk and a hazard, right? So a risk is something that kids can understand and evaluate. They might see a ladder, for example, at a playground, and they might decide they want to try it, not try it, go all the way to the top, ask for help. This is something they can, look at and engage with if they decide. We let kids take risks. We're there to support, but we let them experiment, and we're there to make sure they do this with our support. What we try to eliminate is hazards. If a ladder is broken in a way that a child cannot see and anticipate, that's not something they are freely engaging with anymore. There's not something they have, a decision power over anymore. They're being tricked, right? Like they're presented with a ladder and actually they're going to step on it and it's going to fall apart. So those risks we maintain, the hazard we eliminate. And that's sort of how we go about checking materials. And I hope this helps.
Yes, thank you.
Miss Rosa has a follow-up.
I did, but I'm going to save it.
You gonna save it, Rosa? Well, save it for what? Put it out there.
I'm gonna put my email address so we can connect directly. Thank you.
Please, I'd love to.
For many of us that work with other people's children, safety is the ultimate concern. And again, I'm responsible for 250 kids a day. Parents want to see them in the same condition, so I do understand the question. But I also understand the thing about challenging youth. reaching your potential, and we only sometimes reach it when we take risks. And we often learn more from our failures, not from our successes.
Yeah, I'll say one more thing if you allow me. We run a summer camp that has a DOH permit attached to it that welcomes 300 kids. I am the executive director of Playground NYC. I also need to return those kids intact to parents who paid for or not paid for summer camp. I will say we've welcomed 10,000 kids at the yard in 2022, and we had 4 broken bones, which is extremely low and on par with things like soccer or lower than other sports like skateboarding or horse riding or things that I think are more dangerous but more defined perhaps in a way that parents understand the risks better, whereas the open-ended of what we provide and the variety of scenarios can be a little triggering, and I fully understand it. I'm a mom. I get it.
Thank you, Rosa. Thank you, Zoe. Ash?
So, good presentation. I think it is a good idea, but picking back off of Rosa, I do have some concerns. Because just from the pictures that were shown, I get risk and hazard and stuff like that, but some of like the slide that I saw, that little slide, didn't look very stable going down that. Not even gonna lie, the picture of the kids hammering the nails in the thing, and just like the wood in general splinters, and I know you said only 4 broken bones, but those are still broken bones. And I do have a few concerns, and I would also like to see some of the research that you have backing this up. And Rosa brings up a point, yeah, special education children also. So I get the concept, but at the same time, there is some serious concerns. Are parents signing a waiver when the kids come in? Like, are they like fully aware of like what's going on? And this isn't me attacking you. This is just me.
No,
These are genuine questions that I have. Yeah, because I was.
Parents do sign a waiver at the yard. Yes, parents do sign a waiver. We also have insurance and all kinds of protocols we need to cover things that do occur. I understand. At the same time, there's 10,000 kids whose parents have decided this is beneficial to their children, so it's not completely niche either. Special education is actually really interesting. There's a adventure playground like this in Houston that actually is based in a school that only focuses on serving kids with learning disabilities and learning differences. We see a lot of these programs come to the yard actually and see tremendous benefits in sort of the activities we provide, even though there's dozens of families have now told us like my kid cannot sit still in school, cannot keep their hands to themselves, and then they come to the yard and they're completely self-regulated for hours. So, and I see your comment, it doesn't look the same for all children. Yes, totally. And actually we're doing a lot of work right now at the yard to also consider how it can be more accessible to children with physical disabilities, because the grounds are uneven and there's different things we're looking at. I think you need to come see it for yourself, talk to parents who do this, talk to kids who do this, have a longer conversation. I don't know that I can address all of it today.
Yeah, I would just want to see. I'm a very factual person. I'm a very I like to see like certain facts and studies before.
Yeah, I'll put all that in the chat.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, I would appreciate that, because I do think it's a really good idea. Like you said, in concept, it's very good. I just want to make sure that like everything is okay, because I also work with David at Children's Aid, and just kids. I get that they're like, they express themselves, but sometimes they really don't realize what they're doing. Every kid's ability to assess a risk and reward is different. So like one kid could realize that leaning back in the chair, they're gonna fall backwards, and another kid will just do it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's
no, absolutely. And that's why, our team is like specifically trained to work in this environment, and like there at all times. It's not just like a free for all. But
my last question is the ratio between adults and kids at the summer camp.
Yes, it's a 1-to-5 play worker to kids ratio. So, and we limit, we have a lot more space than we limit it to 25 kids per day of summer camp. We have space for way more than 25 kids, but we feel like the level of activities we provide means that we need to keep the number lower. So we have 25 kids per day, and we have 5 to 6 play workers on site. It's hot, it's long days, it's a physical job. So we actually usually go above the ratio, meaning more play workers than needed.
All right, my last question before I
Yes.
shut my mouth at this point is, how long are they outside? Because in the summer it could get very hot, especially on Governor's Island, because I've been on Governor's Island during the summer. It gets very hot. How long are they outside?
Yeah, they're outside all day. So we pick them up at 8:30 in Lower Manhattan, take them on the ferry, take them to the yard. They might not be at the yard all day. Sometimes they take trips to other things on the island, like the sheep, popular destination. But they are outside all day, which means we have also protocols for that in terms of like mandatory water breaks, and all kinds of things to manage heat.
So let me
Okay,
ask this,
thank you.
on a play street, thanks, Ash. On a play street, how would you do it? Would there be groups that circle in and do like shorter activity, or, because like I'm thinking that we did it, let's say in the schoolyard, let's say on a Tuesday, we would circle normally we would circle one group in and circle another, or like what would be the duration of a time period? So we
Yeah.
can maximize how many kids participate.
Yeah, it depends on the numbers of kids you're thinking, and how big the space is. For a sort of a regular pop-up format, we bring 2 to 3 play workers, which accommodates 30 to 50 kids at one time.
2 groups.
And we usually do it in 2-hour chunks. We see that some kids need a little bit of time to figure out what they want to do and create a project. So if it's shorter than an hour, like the energy tends to be like really intense. Whereas like if we actually tell the kids they have more time, like it just allows for a different pace of play.
So like ideally, I'm just thinking, I'm planning as we're going on. We get the kids at 12, they eat lunch, 12:30. So we could do, if we did like 2 blocks of 2 hours and put 2 groups through, or 2.5, that. I mean, I'll talk out more with you, because I think sometimes, while I understand all the concerns, and I've always preached about safety with other people's children, I remember growing up in the 60s and 70s, there were a lot of junkyards we played in. And, we got a few bumps and bruises, but the imagination and the play was so wonderful, and the opportunity for growth and play and imagination. Kids after COVID need more play. And I'll just say that, being in the school all day long, children need more play. And constructive play, right? Because you're learning something in this. You're planning, you're looking at a project. But
the way we do it also to address the concern about materials is we don't put out everything at first. We usually sort of put out a few things, sort of assess how the kids are responding to things, how they're behaving, sort of conflicts that may arise. And like, depending on the energy, we might introduce more challenging materials or not. So that also helps, get to know the kids and sort of mitigate those concerns.
Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions for Zoe? All right. Thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to read all the material you send me. Yes, I'm a sucker for articles, so yes, I would appreciate that. All right. Quickly before we continue, is it possible to circle back to Dr. Christie, because she just joined? All right. Dr. Christie.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Ash. Thank you, David. I'm so sorry for being late. Special thanks to Rosa. Don't know what I would do without her. Always sharing, making sure I find the link for her, keeping me, but reminding me. But again, thank you everyone for being in this space. I want to just thank everyone on the Community Board 11, and especially the youth and education, for your role in the community and for, just the time you devote to our community. So I I just, in case you haven't heard a thank you today, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who's here. As far as updates, I think the thing that we should all be mindful of is that next week there is midwinter recess. So a lot of the New York City public school students will be out of school. However, some of our schools do have midwinter breaks and/or different activities taking place. At the District 4 office, we do have like a professional development for parent coordinators going on. And we're also asking for volunteers, if anyone's interested, to help set up the D4 general store. That's what we're calling it right now. Name might change, but basically it's going to be a space where we will have supplies for all of our families in needs, not only our newest New Yorkers, but our existing families. And we're going to leverage our parent coordinators to help facilitate that, our president's counselor, our president's council, our parent leaders, and it's a whole community effort. Hopefully March 17th, we'll have our ribbon cutting ceremony, but we knew that for a lot of people coming in during the midwinter break, we have a lot of supplies and resources from all over the community. And again, special thanks to Rosa, because as I said, I learned a lesson. She said that, what was it? She had a truck full. I didn't realize it was a U-Haul truck full. And so we have a lot of supplies, just need to sort and get the room because we want the store to look like an actual boutique, a place where people can actually go and like shop. And we have already donations for our children's area. So we really want it to be a place where people can feel comfortable, warm, and welcome. I think those are the main things. We do have, a math family night series. I put my email in the chat. Nancy Pereira, our family leadership coordinator, can also give all of the updates. And then for March, we do have our DCEP, our District Comprehensive Education Plan rollout session. And I want to thank our chair, Xavier Santiago. He came to the last session as well. So yeah, I think that's it, Ash. I always like joining and coming to this space because I always learn something new. Like I learned about the yard. And I wasn't actually, I saw your face, Ash and David. I was an outdoor camp counselor for many years where we were outside all day. We did do swimming, we had shade and so forth. So I saw your face like, really? People could be outside all day? People have to want to do it, but we can find ways to do it. It's actually sometimes cooler in the shade than it is in some of our schools without AC. Just had to put a plug in there. Because we have a lot of schools without AC in their cafeteria and gymnasium, and it can be, and the auditorium, that it can become very stifling. So again, we're working with all of our schools. I know the Reso A grants are going to be due soon at the end of the month. Yeah, so I think that's a broad brush overview. Just always like joining this space. And again, thank you to each and every single one of you. We are doing Respect for All this week, but it's not just for 1 week. It is every day. Black History Month, Black Lives Matter, a lot of great things going on in our schools. And if you ever want to go and visit, please email me. You are always welcome. We really want to retell our narrative and let people see the great things going on in our D4 schools. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Christie, as always.
I just want to say I saw the room last week and it was empty, and I saw the donations. It's going to be awesome. There's a lot of stuff. So yes, shout out to CEC4 because that's really cool. All right.
Well, if you get anything like we had for the Christmas celebration, I mean, that room was so packed. It was so great. So
yeah.
Great work, Rosa. Great work. Dr. Christie. I was going to say Dr. Rosa, but
It's all the same. We're in this together, and I think it just shows what we can do if we really work together, and we have to keep really working together and learning from each other. And so I really thank you. And thanks, Ash, for joining our CEC meetings. They are public meetings, and we'll continue to work together in service of our children and families. So thank you.
Absolutely. So I just want to go off filter for a minute. So about 2 weeks ago, Xavier, who's our chair for Community Board 11, and I got together just to shoot some breeze, talk about some stuff. And we mentioned doing, possibly thinking about doing a youth symposium and maybe working with DOE. And then on a meeting last week, while Dr. Christie and I were on the SLT meeting, she puts in the chat, hey, maybe we should do a youth symposium. And so I'm just officially kind of putting it out there that we hope to work on a youth symposium in collaboration with DOE and other youth groups in the community sometime in the spring or close to the summer, and really highlight giving youth a platform, but also giving them the opportunity to voice in the community what are their concerns, what is most important to them. So we look forward to working on that particular project. I also want to make this announcement because it is official. It was in Crane's newspaper, I believe today. For many of you know, since 2018, the Children's Aid Society East Harlem Center had closed down for many different reasons, and we have just recently sold the property to Evan Hart, developer, and he's going to build a new building. We will have 3 stories in the building. A church that was also on the property will be in the basement, and Mount Sinai will be leasing the majority of the rest of the building. So I'm very happy to announce, and we had our official announcement last Thursday at Children's Aid Advisory Group with the East Harlem Rebuild. So we are on the move. I'm really excited. We are now in the process of kind of putting the design together, and some things have changed since we originally closed and had some ideas for the rebuild. But it's going to be a wonderful place, going to continue to serve youth, after school programs, adolescent programs, workforce development. We're looking to highlight that and make that a hub in East Harlem, and to really look at developing East Harlem as a performing arts center, to offer those opportunities for kids to allow their imaginations through creative art, through creative writing, through dance. We just started our STEP team. We're not ready yet, but we'll be ready for the youth symposium to give a little STEP show. And I look forward to working with the community, Dr. Christie, as always, and the CEC. Some of us may be on the CEC. We're all getting our elections coming up, as well as Community Board 11. But the work doesn't stop whether you're on a committee or not. The work is being in the community, being in the space, and really just making that difference in young people's lives. So I commend everybody. Now I'll turn back over to Ash, because this part of the meeting, Ash actually has to oversee as the vice chair. So Ash, take it away. I will take my little notes, but I'll take your lead.
All right. Might need a little help with this actually, because so I'm just gonna say, from what I understood, we all have received the budget and we have a commenting period. So basically anything, like if we want to comment about something that is on the spreadsheet, like it said that, like there was one where I think there was a few that we had that said like the funding was not approved. We can make a comment trying to advocate one more time to get the funding. If someone could correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, like for instance,
I know we can't add new things. I think we could just comment
No.
about what current requests that we have. Like the pool.
Right.
The pool was not, that's the one off the top of my head. The pool was not funded.
No, the pool will be part of what is possibly for next year's stuff, because that was brought up in this year. So even with this, and I'll use this as an example, Ash, number 5, request provide technology upgrades. So that ties into what Dr. Christie was just talking about. Many schools possibly could get an air conditioner. It's not the air condition that's usually the problem. It's usually the capacity of the electricity to run the air conditioning unit. So like, I think what school we were in for the CC, not this last one, the prior one, and just counting the amount of air conditioners that are up and how much they cost, yes, there's a lot of money, but to get the electricity upgrades is probably even harder than getting the actual air conditioner. Am I wrong, Dr. Christie? I seem to believe, So what we
There
have
was
to do is, yeah.
There's a few that I was confused about because it said you need to contact OMB or something like that.
Well, that's in this one actually, Ash, the one we're talking about. They say
Yeah.
contact the community board unit at OMB information regarding this request. And this is where it gets tricky too, because although we make this request to, it's school construction authority that makes a determination what's a priority. But there's another, I'm not sure which acronym it is. There's another place in DOE that's not school construction authority that handles technology upgrades, and there's another one that handles electricity kind of thing. So it's not always the same unit to go to. So maybe what we have to do is follow up with that, reach out to them. Yes, John, I know you got more.
I just want to say, if we have to do this today because the district needs a budget meeting, we're finalizing our comments to present to the full board on Thursday. So we could either have it that we could discuss it now and anyone can make any comments they want to make now, and I would take note of it and bring it to the budget committee, or if anyone has anything between now and Thursday, they could email it to me, because I think that's how we're gonna have to do it. So yeah, sorry, John.
Yeah.
Oh, well, the agency that handles technology, I believe it's DOITT. Do it. Because they usually do things like with infrastructure and technology.
See, this is the thing I'm still learning about larger agencies in the city, that they're often broken up into like smaller sub-agencies, and you have to know who to navigate through. Thank you for that information. Anybody else have any questions in relation to what Ash was saying? Did everybody have time to review the budget needs and those things? Because it's important that we review this stuff before we make comments. Are there any comments? So we had the request for the needs. We had renovate interior component building. We put in for those the bathrooms, with most of them at 72 are getting done at the moment, but we also indicated with the doors. And what was it, a meeting a couple of months? Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone so that way I could see at the same time. Because there was a couple that either they would say that they would reallocate funds from the current budget, or there was the one where we spoke about expanding youth program. I'm trying to find the exact language that was used. Sorry, you could continue. I'm slightly confused.
No, well, we have, again, the renovations for different schools, 146. Oh, God, my battery's getting ready to die. Dr. Christie, anything specific that you know about any of these projects that may be on the forefront with 148? I mean, 146. One of the things, I mean, last year we got a lot of the projects that we have put forward through with funding, so it was a little better.
I'm sorry, just give me a second. I'm trying to find the specific requests that I was talking about from DYCD. Yes, program citing decision. This was the one where we were talking expanding employment services for high schools and students at risk of dropping out. Program citing decisions are based on the request for proposals process, area needs and available funding. Sign up at DYCD's website to learn when I cannot pronounce that word. Solicitations for services are released.
Solicitation.
That's number 20. Yeah, that's number 24. So it's or the expansion to work, learn, and grow. It says DYCD has already increased funding in its service area. So it seems like some of them, they weren't necessarily denied. They were just said that it was something that was already done.
Yeah,
I think the only...
And some of them we need to split up, because SYEP, work, learn, and grow kind of falls under the SYEP umbrella. So while the whole entire SYE umbrella had increased over years, Work, Learn, and Grow remains very small. Work, Learn, and Grow is the fall school year program that runs similar to SYEP, but kids that are selected for SYEP get an opportunity to be selected in a lottery for Work, Learn, and Grow. It's maybe about 10% of the kids. So SYEP was what, 70,000 kids?
Yeah.
So it's about 7,000 kids citywide. And what they
Yeah.
do is they go through a series of training programs in the early fall. Then they get placed around December in sites to work until maybe May.
It was March, because I remember last year it was till March.
Right. What
So it
happens
was-
is when the kids' hours run out and the funding runs out. So we wanted to increase. We wanted to give kids more time working so that it extends for the full school year, and that it also. But I think we have to start breaking these up and be very specific in itself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because what they do is they umbrella it and say we gave out more money for SYEP, which they have over the last few years. Because we used to have Sandino from Children's Aid come here and advocate and do a presentation to keep from cutting. So that hasn't been a problem.
So I think our specific comment will have to be, although funding has been increased under the SYEP umbrella as a whole, it hasn't been specifically increased in recent years for Work, Learn, and Grow,
And we were
providing
saying
more opportunities for students.
school year programming, work development.
Yeah. If anyone has any comments, feel free to interrupt us. Like raising your hand, of course. But yeah, does anyone have any comments about that one? Rosa, you can unmute if you are able to. I'm sorry, I'm having a little bit of a hard time looking at the chat and looking at my phone.
No, sorry, I didn't want to interrupt while you guys were brainstorming. But my thought is like renovating bathrooms, thinking about the ACs because summer is literally here. We had like 70 degrees this past week. And summarizing sites are very important, and we need those ACs there like yesterday. Those are my. Mhm.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
Rosa.
the bathrooms were approved. That was our main renovation thing. The doors. Where's the doors? AC. I don't remember if we had an AC one. I think CEC had one, but we didn't. I think that was one of the ones.
Yeah, the CC did a resolution for everybody, not just one specific. What we found is when we put down too many in this, they say it's too much and they don't fund it in part, they don't identify it. Then when we narrow it down, sometimes they only fund those particular schools, but
Yeah.
Because
the ACs, I do agree with Rosa, because the cafeterias, especially like the common areas, it's ridiculous. But unfortunately, if we did not put in that original request, we can't comment on it. We filled out the.
But we can talk about the upgrades in technology for, in electrical work needed to be able to do the, this is why you got to go one place for air conditioning, you got to go one place for technology and one different place for capital improvements to electric.
So you're saying because the electricity got denied, we can maybe give the exact reason why we need the electricity upgrade.
Right. I mean, even Dr. Christie, when she was talked on, again, some schools don't have it. PS 72 does not have it in the auditorium and does not have it in the kitchen. Those places are horrible in the summer.
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think about how we would word that, because yeah, Rosa? Was that Rosa who said something, or I don't know.
Your role is to take down the notes and then put the notes together into the written for the meeting.
Well, I just also want to make sure that I get everyone's input here before I go back. So if anyone has anything to say, please interrupt me. This is your chance for me to put in the comments and stuff like that, because because we keep talking about, like, I know that that's just our example, Lexington Academy, but the specific one we're talking about is that other school. Because we input in
Right,
an
but right here,
electric.
this is 146, unable to prioritize funding for the project request at this time. This is what we need, electrical upgrades. So you could put the air condition. You can't put the air condition, or you could put the air condition, but if there's no electricity, like at 72, when they did it, they had to put electricity in each classroom because we did not have air conditioners.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You know, so this is what they need. I mean,
So for that one, I'm gonna put. What is it? Well, we strongly believe that the electricity upgrade is needed to fit many other needs that will last many years. Of course, I'll put it in better words, but
I guess
like air
we should
conditioning.
find out if this is also a summer rising school. If this is a summer rising school and we don't have air conditions in the classroom, that's not a healthy place for children.
Does anyone? What specific school is it? Because I'm not sure if Dr. Chrissy left.
We could check with Dr. Christie.
Yeah. Problem is we're on a little bit of a time crunch here, because
So when
it
you
needs
come
to.
to work tomorrow, you and I are gonna have to sit with this.
Okay. Rosa. Mosaic EP. Rosa, I see what you're saying, but like I said before, this is us commenting on what we already put. We can't I know David keeps mentioning 72. I think that's just a example in general.
No, we had him present. See, that's the difference.
But he didn't. But we didn't put in a request for electricity. We put in a request for doors.
Yeah.
Unless I am bugging and missed something. But
no, in 72 we put in a request for doors, and we also did the bathrooms a long time ago. The bathrooms have been at 72 for a couple of years.
All right, Rosa.
Yeah, I was here laughing. So my suggestion, right, would be to read the email and find out, exactly what you guys are talking about. Because honestly, I have not been able to read what you guys email due to personal family emergency, which I'm running in the bus right now. But if we can make a comment and send it via email to you guys, so we can all be in in the same page. Because honestly, I'm just saying what we need, right? What District 4 schools need. That's all I'm saying.
No. So
Yeah,
Rosa,
I'm all
Rosa,
I'm all for you with that. It's just I can read you actually the specific request.
So Rosa,
but
what happens in this whole process is after we go through this, we begin it again. And next year we can add certain priorities. That's why we asked, I'm going to ask Central Park East to come in because they wanted some things with their playground, right? And then when they come present, then we identify those as projects in the full board. And then the full board votes on which are the priority projects. We may have had other schools here, but didn't make the priority cut amongst all the board members. So what we need to do, Rosa, as part of CEC members, like we just met with School Construction Authority, right? When we meet with them again now, we start getting what are the projects on their radar? Which are the ones on our radar that we want to add for next year? We do this process every year for those that don't. So this is like the end of the process where we've submitted already to the city what are this district's needs and statement of district needs and budget priorities. This is their response to what we've sent them. We can't add something into this. We add the new thing into the next one.
I just read
or we
the
continue. I'm sorry, Ash. Or we
I just read. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll be quiet.
No, I keep losing the.
I'll get to you in a second, Sage. I read the specific request. We did put AC requirements. I'm gonna read the exact wording that we put. Funding must be allocated to fully complete the necessary wiring upgrades to PS 146 and M short. The wiring in the building is original to 1965 and currently only accommodates 240 amps. However, the building needs to accommodate 4200 to 4500 amps for the school to sustain all its technology, modern equipment, refrigeration, kitchen, and AC requirements.
Right.
So I think we just need to reiterate for that one because we already put.
But you get air conditions and refrigerators from this part. You get wiring from this part. They're not the same people you go to in DOE.
Okay. All right. Now I'm getting what you're
That's
saying.
what we've been learning over the years. And it was somebody that came from DOE who presented to the board and said, look, let me educate y'all. When you're asking for this, you can't ask for this over here where they're asking for air conditions, because that's the way they're going to deny your request.
All right. So you're saying for us
right
to reiterate, like just pick one thing. Just pick one thing, not like
Right.
refrigeration.
What we were saying in there is we need wiring so that we can have the.
All right, we're gonna have to talk about that tomorrow because I'm still
Yeah,
not
that's okay.
understanding.
Why don't we go to Sage?
Sage. I'm sorry to keep you waiting.
That's fine. I'm here to be here, so I don't mind waiting. But I have not received an email about this. So like Rosa, I feel a little lost right now.
I think I have your email. I could forward it to you, and it was in the email sent out with the agenda. I'm not sure if you received that email. If anything,
I
will
got the
forward that email
agenda
to you.
just from the community board website, and then I got one item that is on the new business portion of the agenda from Angel, but I didn't get
Okay.
any of this stuff.
Yeah, I will send you this specific request. I'm sorry we're on a time crunch, everyone. I do know it's a little bit stressful. So seeing as did anyone else was not able to read it, because I think we should instead of rambling, we should I will resend it to everyone, and we can you could just send me an email with your comments. I will need the comments though by tomorrow night, so that way I could prepare to give it to the committee, the district needs committee. Yeah. So if everyone is okay, I think we should continue the meeting along because we still have some new business that needs to be attended to. If that's okay, because I don't think we should. Oh, Angela, do you have any comments about it, or?
No, because I remember the meeting. See, I understand what it is that David is saying. These are the things we talked about like last year that made it to the list. Now it's being prioritized. So everything that I've read here, it doesn't really matter, because things that are way low down, chances are we won't get those things, right?
Sorry, can you repeat your question? I didn't really hear what she said.
No, what I'm saying is things that are way down, like there's ranges. So things are very high priority, some are high priority. Ones that have 40s next to it, chances are they may not even make it to the list. We'd have to bring them up again. No, I don't see anything that goes against all that we discussed before.
Okay. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah. So
this is the end of what we did all last year. And
right.
Again. Right.
And I apologize because I'm still learning about this. So thank you for clarifying that.
Actually, I think you're doing very well.
Yeah.
You spoke very well to what it was that I had to go and look. I said, wait a minute, where's she reading all this? But she's got all this information. So kudos to you.
All right. So I think we should end this conversation here.
Let me just add this, Ash, just so everybody knows, this is, again, one of those things that is posted on our website as well. So this should be able to be downloaded from the website so that everybody does have it. But always feel free, if you didn't get something, reach out, because we want to make sure that people are informed. And like Angel communicated at the last meeting, sometimes it's hard to have a discussion or make decisions if people haven't been informed prior to.
Where is this on the website?
I'll send it to you now, Sage, because there was a simplified version, I think, sent out to the actual committee members, because I know that there's two different two different spreadsheets. So I will send it to you right after this meeting finishes, if that's okay.
Okay, I
Uh,
appreciate that. I don't think there's anything on the CB website calendar.
well,
There's no, this
Marlene,
isn't there.
Marlene, because I know she's from the office, so she might
Yeah,
be able to.
thank
Yeah.
you for recognizing me since I'm filling in for Khalid. I just wanna, what I'm bringing back to the board office. So Asha, what I heard you say was that you're going to finalize something tonight with some committee members to have ready for Thursday.
Yes, I am gonna I will be I'm gonna send out the message, like forward the message that was sent to everyone again, because I don't think some people got it. And then I will be taking email comments up until like tomorrow night. So that way I could bring it to the meeting on Thursday.
Page might have been added to the committee list after they sent out the agenda last week. So maybe that's
Yeah,
why.
I think it was, yeah. I think
Yeah.
that's what happened. There was a little mix up.
Because if he
So.
got the one Angel sent out yesterday about the resolution, then we should.
All right.
But
Okay,
Maureen, shouldn't it be posted on the website? I would believe it would be.
I'm sorry, it should what be posted on the website?
The statement of district needs, the capital.
Yes,
Wouldn't it is, right? Yeah.
yes.
It's,
Because
yeah, I'll
it has
just,
to be, because it's also, again, this is a public document that the public is entitled to have access to. And the information.
yeah.
There's nothing secret in here.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying there was nothing secretive. It's just there was like two spreadsheets and one is easier to read than the other one. I'm gonna be straight up honest.
Right,
Yeah.
No, I know that.
what you're referring to, I apologize for interrupting, Asher. You're referring to what Angel sent. I'm not sure, I'm pretty sure Khalid sent it, but I'm not on that email thread. Is the budget register, so you all received the spreadsheet from the city, from the mayor's office, and then you received what is called the budget register for, specifically for Board 11 for the preliminary budget responses. So
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking
be
about.
more like comprehensive to read, because whatever's in that spreadsheet is put in a more like, fleshed out, comprehensive, succinct way to read it. So I always send people to the register because it's easier.
Yeah, the register is the one that's just specifically our district. Yeah.
What we want is when we get more definition or describe other things in it that are more relevant to why we're doing this, or what's relevance in the community. But this is this is easier to work through as a document here. Last time we sat with this, we sat with the spreadsheet that had more of the information in it.
Yeah. Marlene, do you know how we could get, because it's like contact OMB or something like that. Do you know how we would be able to contact them to get some response? Because a lot of them really just said contact OMB.
Right. So
Yeah.
you would discuss that at the budget committee. However, if this committee is not satisfied with a response from a specific agency, you could contact the intergovernmental rep for that agency. For example, what Human Services did last year, they were not satisfied with a lot of responses from the Department for the Aging, DFTA. So we contacted the intergov for DFTA and got them to come to the table and explain why this was funded in part. Like, what does that mean? So you can do that as a committee.
All right. Rosa?
And Ash, I just, on the document that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
I saw that, yeah.
Pages have who those people are that Marlene just mentioned you would call if there was one of those specific areas, like sanitation or aging or the different areas. So
Yeah, I was just checking if it was the district office that had to contact them or we contact them. So that
Right.
answered.
So you would speak to, so this committee, since Khalid is your liaison, you would speak to Khalid and tell him, like, listen, Khalid, can you be the, in between to speak to whatever city agency that you want to receive more information from in regards to why it wasn't funded or why it was funded in part or why they're sending you to a different place to get more information, because you just need clarity. You would ask him to start that conversation on your behalf. You could be on the email thread on the call as well, just so you're hearing it all at the same time and Khalid is not relaying a message. And you could bring him to the meeting.
All right. Rosa, is your hand down
Thank you,
now,
Madam.
or? I'm sorry, I thought Rosa was gonna say
No,
something.
no, I just wanted to like say if we're gonna meet, if not, I mean, if we're gonna continue because I have to stop if we're not, we're not, I'm making a decision right now,
I'm sorry. Can you
Hard
repeat
to
that
hear you,
question? I'm
Rosa.
slightly confused. Yeah,
Sorry, I'm sorry. I
it's all
just,
right.
sorry. I just wanted to know if we're gonna make a decision or not, so we can
I
just, good
I
night,
think
adjourn.
I think our decision is basically I will resend that out, and then if anyone has any concerns or something, just bring it up to me before Thursday. So, yeah,
Will
I
do.
think
Thank you so
that's
much.
all right.
And
So I
Rosa,
think
we
we could.
should start putting together from the CEC that we could also present to the community board. What are the projects from District 4 perspective and the principals? It's also good to have principals come and do presentations because that's generally those things that get elevated to be part of the district needs. So
All
those
right.
that come before us have a greater chance of getting that need at least put on the list as opposed to not even getting.
All right. So I think we could continue. David and I will also work through this a little bit tomorrow. So yeah, I think we could continue if that's okay with you, David.
Please
Because
do.
we're just going in circles at this point. All right. Marlene, if we could continue.
Marlene has it up there ready.
Oh, we had new business though. We had the CEC, the
Yeah, we got to go
CEC
back one.
resolution. No, there's no new business slide. I think. Am
I'm
I
sorry,
am I bugging?
that wasn't in the slide. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. No, it was a last minute thing that was
That
brought
was a
up.
last minute thing.
No, he has
You
it
can
under
keep,
new business. There it is. Finalized request statement. Oh, no, right. He said bring it
Yeah,
up.
no problem.
yeah,
You can
he's
keep up new business and then speak about it on the floor.
all right. All right. So I hope everyone received the CEC's resolution. Let me know if you didn't. David, if you wanna, or Rose, I know
I
Rosa's a
think
little
the other
bit
thing here,
preoccupied right now. You could just give like a summary of what it's about.
finalized request to respond to statement on preliminary budget. That's what we were working on.
No, yeah,
The
that's what we
second
were.
part,
Yeah.
reach consensus, providing public testimony at city council hearings on preliminary budget. One thing we've lacked in this community, and one of our champions in this community, was Francis Mastrota. And that was going down and providing testimony when we have these budget hearings. And I will also say that I've not done as good as I could have done. And I think that's what we're really looking for is, as these budget hearings come up, are we going to take a lead in many of us, not just myself, but other members as well, in providing testimony at these public hearings? And one of our previous board members that recently passed, and we celebrated when we were live last year for a year, Joe Goldboom, who often said, you got to be at these hearings and you got to testify. They need to hear the voice and the story of the community. So I think we really need to, including myself, we need to get out and get down to these hearings and testify. I think Debbie Quiones has done it, and maybe we need to have some orientation on how to better do this on the board, or how do we solicit members of the board to go down and tell the stories that we all talk about here.
Would that be the time we could bring up the air conditioning?
Well, again, I think in relation to where we are, it's not that we exclude air conditioning. It's part of what we're saying in these needs. We're saying we need wiring so we can hook up the air conditioning. We didn't ask for air conditioning, right?
Yeah.
So we have to be clear on how we ask and who we ask. And that's why it's really important that not only do we put things on paper, but as a community board 11, that we have representation at the hearings. And, the first time I went to hearing, I wasn't prepared either. I thought you went down there and spoke. I had my little notes. And the next thing, when I finished speaking, it was asked, can we have a copy of your testimony? So, there's a whole process, I think, that we should
Yeah, I remember that.
informed, right? You remember that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I
That's right.
remember
We
that.
threw you down there a few times with
Yeah.
Children's Aid.
I think that I'm not really sure how we would necessarily approach this. I think I get what you're saying, but
Well,
I'm
it should
sorry.
at least be the chairs and vice chairs, unless there are other people that want to take a lead. Some people are comfortable getting up and speak in front of groups, some are not. But if you're passionate about a lot of the work that we do and a lot of the issues and concerns, we'll help you get through it.
Is this written testimony we're submitting, or we're like talking about going down there?
Going
Like
down
Mark.
there, submitting your written
Okay.
testimony that you orally give to the elected officials that are there.
Okay.
Don't be shy. We've shown you in front of the mayor before as well, so I'm not worried about you.
I
I'm more
am
worried
a
about
different
me.
person than 8 years ago. Anyway, so yeah. So how would this work? Would anyone like to participate in this? Just so we could write people's names down? Cause yeah, I'm really not sure how
Marlene,
it
has
would go.
anybody else expressed interest in this on any of the other committees?
I'm sorry, I was unmuting. Not on the committees that I liaise for.
I know I would be willing to do it if. So you said like chair and vice. Yeah, I'm willing to do it. I'm not sure if anyone else would be willing to do it. We also need to find out when these hearings
Right,
are.
when are they?
Yeah,
May have some light. They're coming up, I believe.
I know they
No?
come out in like March, because
Yeah.
I think it's finalized in April.
Because it's before the budget is approved.
Yeah.
Can we be notified like a week in advance to know when it is? I can't decide now because I don't know what my life is gonna look like in a day. Okay.
So we should find out the dates of when the hearings are, the different
Yeah.
committees.
I'm gonna be very busy writing emails. As soon as I find out, I shall send an email. John,
Yes, the next budget meeting is going to be on Tuesday, February 28th, I believe at 10 a.m.
you're
And
saying the one at City Hall, right?
Yes, ma'am.
When is full board? Because
Next
is
Tuesday.
it the
Next
same day
Tuesday.
as full board?
No,
Oh no, it's after
the
full
following
board.
Tuesday.
I think full board's are the 21st.
Yeah, next Tuesday.
So the city council hearing is the following Tuesday.
Okay. All right. I guess if anyone wants to participate in that, email me and David. Yeah.
Well, this is a real good time to stress some of the things that they may have not funded to the point as they consider new funding
And-
for the next year.
I think, like you brought up before, Summer Rising, like, because that's now a thing. Like, it's not just summer school anymore. It's a full-on, like, summer program.
Yeah, it's not going
Like,
away.
summer school was summer school. Like, this is, like, summer camp, everything. Like, it's summer school on steroids. That's a bad analogy, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know, but yeah, that is not the best analogy.
Yeah.
So again, if people are interested, reach out.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the things we could talk with Xavier and an executive is, what training do we provide to members? And remember, you can go as a board member, but you could also go as a community resident or community, person that just wants to voice certain concerns. I would suggest that if you're going and representing the board, you need to let Xavier know and get his okay, because you're representing the board and not yourself.
Is that the only hearing, the February one, John, or do you not know? We might have to look into that.
No, that's the first of many.
Okay, so there's more. So we're not in the, yeah.
Because yes, there will be budget hearings for every city agency there is within the next few months.
Okay. All right. So I think we could leave that here.
Well, we should get a schedule and give it to people so people want to.
Yeah.
Have like
No,
Angela.
I'm saying like in terms of like what we could discuss now.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
that's, yeah.
We can
Um,
move on to the other new
resolution.
business.
Yeah, the resolution. Like I said before, I think everyone received the CEC resolution. If David, maybe you want to give a summary, or Rosa, basically about, it was mentioned at the beginning, but
Yeah, Rosa talked a little at the beginning. I'll just give, so we have, in the past, have also taken resolutions against the expansion of charter schools. Right now, New York City has reached the charter school cap that it's supposed to, was awarded to, and they're looking to expand it by 100 new charters in the city. And while I don't disagree with charters, I'm always concerned when instead of fixing something that people say isn't right, that we create something else that may not necessarily be the answer. So CEC4 has taken a position based on Governor Hochul's expansion of the charter that we do not need any more charters in New York City. We have many different challenges in working with some of them in our community. And some of the charters do very great work with our youth as well. So the position that we've taken in the past as a community board was to not vote to expand the charters. Generally, we would give a month to a resolution that's just presented for the first time before us. The people haven't gotten to read it. I'm hoping that everybody did read it and that we can move this forward because we've already taken a position on the same issue previously. This is more addressed specifically to Governor Hochul's expansion that she's proposing currently. Rosa, did I miss anything? Angela, I'll come to you in a second if Rosa tells me I missed anything. Or Rosa's still traveling. I know she's one of these streets running up and down, getting somewhere.
Angela has her hand raised.
Go ahead, Angela. Rosa.
So my question, the only problem I had with the resolution is how they specifically identified the Success Academy schools. Couldn't that be a little problematic? Can't it just be more generalized? Or is there a reason why they specifically identified in several points in there, they identified the Success Academies? And I am not a proponent. I do not care for Eva Moskowitz and what she does, but I just think that that could be problematic. It's like you're saying, we don't like you. Like, we don't like you.
Well, one of the things we can do is we can adopt the resolution as is, or we can adopt the resolution without that line in it, or subtract that line. What are other members' feelings about that? I do understand what you shared about that particular charter school. But you know, some schools are good, some are not. Some DOE schools are better than others, and some unfortunately are not as good as others.
But the resolution is not supposed to be specific to one set of charter schools, but all the charter schools, like in general. So I think that the statement should also be in general.
I get what you're saying. Rosa put in the chat, it's the charter school which uses the most of the DOE public school money. She said that was her reason for it. I'm just reading what she said because I'm not sure she's able to unmute right now. Yeah, that was her.
I don't think it's for good decorum to focus and identify just one particular place. It seems that you're like being mean. We don't want to be like we don't like that one. And it seemed, the way I read it, it seems like that is the one that they really want to focus on. Or the whole thing about that school and the things they do wrong.
I do agree with you. The language probably wasn't necessarily the best, but like David said, we have options for how we can take a position on it.
Or we could just adopt our own resolution, you know, and hold off on a month and rewrite our own with striking that out. But Russell has his hand up, so Russell, maybe you can enlighten us a little bit.
I share the same sentiments that Ms. Donadell expressed. I think that it should be, if we're going to take these positions, I think it should be directed toward the impact of charter schools.
Period.
I think that to support that statement, there have to be some examples. I think the examples should just say standing there, but be expressed that among the existing charter schools, this is our prevalent circumstances, whether it's overinflating their usage, overinflating their population, deflating their departures from it, the disciplinary thing. It should be done, and I suggest that it be done under a non-biased narrative to not express any prejudices. It's just about the pros and cons, the advantages and disadvantages that charter schools pose to existing public schools. It should be our support of this, if that's what we choose to do, is how it impacts our schools, public schools, our students who have an opportunity, how it eliminates opportunity.
I agree with you.
For that. So that's my position. It shouldn't single out any individual charter school unless it's some reasons that is unknown to all of us, but it has to emphasize the reasoning for us to be able to not want it.
I agree with you. I'm just going in the order of the hands. So I saw Sage's first.
Yeah, I just want to say I completely agree with Angela and Russell. I think it's inappropriate to single out the Success Academies, though I would support a more generalized statement.
I think we all are in agreement that the Success Academy thing is a little bit, even though that is like one of the main ones, like within like media and just also within our community as a whole, it could cause a lot of pushback in the long run if we're just singling out a single charter school, because maybe they might take focus on that one charter school and then ignore the rest of the other ones that are causing problems. That's like one scenario that could happen. Rosa?
Yeah, I do agree with the language that maybe could be amended, right? This is CEC District 4 resolution, and we don't represent charter school. That's the language that we use, you know what I mean? But for the community board, obviously it could be more broader, right? It could say all charter schools.
Yep.
So that's also appropriate, right? But we, CEC, we're gonna use the language that is appropriate for the kids that we serve. Public schools only. We don't serve no charter schools, and we oppose anything that has to do with providing money from our public schools to charter schools.
Yeah, and I agree, Rosa. I think that, you know, the money going to charter schools, although, you know, Success is getting the most and in the most schools, you know, our schools should be operating within our schools, and our schools should have their own space to grow and not be taken away from, you know.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into a battle about all the charters and those issues. That's not why we're really here. But I think, and we'll go to Claudia in a second. You know, I think we're right. We can make addendums to this. We can adopt it with minusing and striking this out, or we could just write our own, you know, in terms of the thing. So,
yeah.
Ash,
Sorry, before you go to Claudia, I'm sorry, Claudia. I think this is just my opinion. I think we should, because I'm not sure if this is an immediate thing that we need to vote on. I think we should maybe write our own resolution, because I think our, like Rosa said, we represent a wider population than the CEC represents. So of course our language is going to be different, and it's nothing against the CEC necessarily. It's just we are two different entities. So I think we should put out our own statement. So yeah, Claudia.
Hello, everyone. I'm a charter school mom, right? I'm also a mother of 5 children. I've had children that have prospered, and I strongly do support public schools. But to say, like I've experienced success and I'm not in total agreement with it. But what I do see and I do believe is that it should be a year-to-year thing, a lease thing when it comes to the schools. Because it is a true factor that maybe the school might be having issues and they have space at that moment for that school to be there. It's not fair that if they do get funding back into the public school system, then that charter school is refusing to move out of that space so that the school can obtain the programming which is desperately needed to the community. So it's a twofold problem. You got what I'm saying? But I am truly in support of charter schools who do start out in the public schools and then build out their own buildings. There's a couple of schools that do that. And one of the things I do know about Eva and Success Academy, she refuses, even though they get a lot of funding, out public and private funding. So she refuses, and she makes it her business to tell the parents that it is public school, which is true. Charter schools are public school because it's open to the public. But in the same essence, you cannot hold hostage the spaces for the school who was there prior to be held hostage, from advancing in their programming. That's only one of the problems, and I wanted to point that out, so, it's not fair in personalizing it and pointing out Success Academy, but I could see where that comment came from, because she basically bullies herself into these schools and refuses to move. And she states her claim, this is her right, and she pushes the parents to support her. Like, it's a lot of things I don't agree with that school, but I can also see why they are being targeted. But also keep in mind that there are also charter schools who start out in the space and eventually end up building their own buildings within the community. Another thing is charter schools, I believe, has forced the public school system to go back to the basics and reevaluate the education that they've been giving our children in the first place. Because if it wasn't meeting a need, there wouldn't have been a creation for the charter school. And I yield back the floor. That's just something for us to think about as a group. Thank you.
Claudia, I so much agree with a lot of what you said, especially that last statement, that I think that we've used charter as a way of not fixing something that needs to be fixed. And yet we have some great programs that educate kids as well. So Ash, I will allow you to continue and I'll be quiet.
I think my problem I'm having is because I agree with your last statement, but how are the public schools supposed to fix stuff when our funding is going to these charter schools?
Well, that's
how are we supposed to? I'm not against charter schools. I went to a charter school for a little bit. I'm not against charter schools. I just think the problem is when it's a rotating cycle. Because how are the public schools supposed to fix the problems? How are we supposed to get resources if our resources are continuously being taken away, especially after the pandemic? There's so much more needed than before. So I'm I don't think, I'm not going to speak for everyone. I'm not against charter schools. I just think the whole process needs to be changed because it's not working and people are getting left behind. So
well, let me ask this.
Parents pay taxes too. So in your statement, I'm taking it as my money should not go to support my child's school. It should go to only support a public school. I think it should be shared resources.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to gather my thoughts because what I'm saying is there should be separate funding just for charter schools, not necessarily taking from the public school budget, if that makes sense. I don't know. I'm
Well,
just gonna.
see, this is the challenge, and what Claudia mentioned is charter all public schools, right? And they are public schools. Anybody can go to them. But when the funding becomes unfair, or when it's not proportionally given, or there's talk about giving more to charter schools per capita than they were to kids in DOE schools. So it does raise a lot of questions, but this is a fact. Charter schools get money to pay rent. So when they occupy DOE schools, they're not utilizing money to pay the rent. They're using the money, for other things, but then they're taking away. There's a lot of issues here with this. Maybe what we should do is, as Ash said, do we want to take a position on this as is? Do we want to take it with amendments, or do we want to write our own? And I guess that's where we're at right now.
Jason had something to say in the chat. I'm not sure if he's able to unmute because I'm sorry, I'm having trouble going in between the screens. Because I saw part of what he said.
Yeah, I just said that we could just adopt the resolution and take out the specific name of Success Academy. And that way we don't have to, I don't believe in like reinventing the wheel. If there's already draft language that works. I don't, this is an all volunteer board. If the language is already pretty much good to go, I don't think we need to try to rewrite something that's already, usable.
I agree, Jason. Both me and Rosa sit on the CEC, so we're part of that as well. So it's not like we didn't have input. But I think the remarks that everybody's made in relating to striking out the Success Academy kind of comments. Rose, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to also comment that this resolution was also adopted by the Chancellor's Parent Advisory Committee. So we also adopted it because we saw the need. So just wanted to remind everyone, if you have the chance, I'll also send the link to David and Natasha, so they can also send it so you guys can see for yourself also. Thank you.
Thanks, Rosa. So,
I don't know where we go from here.
well, I'll tell you where we go. Jason made a suggestion that we adopt it and strike it. And I'm willing to take a motion on that if the committee will vote. John and Angela, I see both of you got up too quick. So are there questions or the motion?
Well, I was going to make a motion to vote on an amended version of the resolution.
All right, so we have a
I will
motion.
second it.
And
I was
Angela,
just going to agree with Jason, so that was all.
no, but this
We
is
just need to strike out all of that stuff that's very specific to Success Academy. I just think that that's like finger pointing. That's not what you want to do. You want to make a statement based on for the good, the greater good, and there are other charter schools
Yes.
in the community.
so now we need Marlene to raise her hand to do the roll call. Right,
Marlene's hand is up.
That's what I'm saying. Marlene's hand is raised to do the roll call.
Ask before you go into a vote, right? Since I'm filling in for Khalid. So I know Angela made a motion, but who made the motion? John?
John.
Okay,
John.
fine. John made the motion, but I needed to be a clear motion as to what this resolution is about. What exactly are you guys striking? It needs to be a clear sentence so I could take it to Khalid. So when I say it to him, I'm like, this is what the committee you liaise for. This is what they decided. And
Okay.
this is what the vote represents. So I'm just asking for a little bit more clarity because I heard the conversation, but I'm not clear on that motion. So if John can restate it for me, that would be helpful.
Okay. I make a motion to to vote on this resolution minus the passages that relates to success charter schools.
Okay, my next question is, can that motion, I'm not telling you what to say, but are you voting on the specific Is it the CC4 motion? What are you supporting?
The CC4 motion,
Sorry, the resolution.
resolution, I'm sorry,
CC4.
resolution. But I'm requesting that the passages about success charter schools be stricken from it.
Okay, so what I gathered from this conversation,
Marlene,
because I haven't seen, go ahead, sorry,
I'm sorry, I'm trying to pull it up in front of me. I thought I had the paper in front of me.
no problem.
What we're voting on is to support the CEC4 motion, resolution to not approve Governor Hochul's, whatever it is, and I'll get the exact language, for the expansion of charter schools beyond the New York City cap. And we will strike the sentences that relate to Success Academy.
But is that what we're doing? See, I think we
We're
should,
supporting
I
their
think that
resolution.
the statements that around what the Success Academy did are probably general statements for charter schools. We should
Right,
just
we'll leave
strike
the
out
statements in, but we'll leave them out and relate it to
without
charter.
identifying Success
Not-
Academy.
Right. We will strike the name and the name Eva Moskowitz. Marlene, I'll rewrite that sentence in the motion for you.
Russell has had his hand up for like
Sorry, Russell.
5 minutes.
There are more than one charter school mentioned in it other than Success Academy. So just making it in a general sense should not be mentioned any charter school. Or any name of any representative of a charter school.
Yes.
And it's maintain of what our primary, we have to be focused. Even when we have this discussion, is not pro or anti-charter schools. We're trying to focus on the challenges that charter school pose on the financing of the regular public schools. And that's by and large, and then how the disparities and how it's the support that it provides to those co-existing locations where finances have to be provided that's taken away from public schools.
What a silent moment.
Yeah. So do we have a motion? Like, are we just... I think maybe restate the motion with what Russell said, and then we could just call the roll.
This is what I have so far. Can I read it back just to make sure I'm clear? Okay, from what you just said, David, motion to support C4's resolution against Governor Hochul's. You have to tell me what this is. To expand charter schools beyond the New York City cap. We will strike the name of Success Academy.
And
We'll just strike the name of any representative or charter school in general.
Okay, so, right, so.
I will rewrite it and send it to you before the morning. Okay. Just so we have that. With the striking. I'm trying to pull it up now.
Right, so Governor Hochul's, what? Right, motion to support, right, because you're going to a vote and this is what the language is just gonna stand, so that's why I'm being annoying about this. A motion to support CEC4's resolution against Governor Hochul's what? To expand charter schools beyond the NYC cap.
Is her plan, her plan to do that?
Proposal, thank you very much,
Her
proposal.
proposal to allow about 100 additional charter schools in New York.
Let's say beyond the cap.
I got that, okay, so.
Yeah,
Motion
they've
to
already
support
reached the cap.
CEC4's resolution against Governor Hochul's proposal to expand charter schools beyond the New York City cap. And you're telling me, what I wrote, we will strike the name of Success Academy. However, you're telling me that you're going to provide the additional schools tomorrow.
We're going to strike the additional schools.
You're going to strike the additional schools. Okay. So strike. So how do you, so to strike, how are you going to word that right now with the motion being said?
I'm trying to pull up the motion.
Okay,
I can't find it in the papers I have. But the computer.
You mind if because I think
Yeah,
I'm
then.
getting what she said. Motion to
no, I got
approve the
that. I'm clear
yeah.
on, it's this last piece of striking Success
With-
Academy.
Striking mention of
any
any
charter
charter school name. That's it.
Okay.
or
got it.
representative from any charter school because the Success Academy, I keep forgetting her name. The
Eva
lady.
Moskowitz.
Yeah.
Striking
wasn't
any charter
mentioned.
school name.
Yeah.
Okay, so this
Or
is what I have.
representative.
Or
yeah.
striking the name of any charter school.
Okay, striking the name, okay. Of any charter school.
Charter school.
Okay, all right. So this is what I have. Motion to support CEC for its resolution against Governor Hochul's proposal to expand charter schools beyond NYC, the NYC's cap. And then the last part is, we will strike any, the name of any charter schools. Okay, so.
Or representative because we had to be specific about the representatives
Eva
also.
Moskowitz.
Yeah.
Charter schools or representatives or and.
Or any
And
representative.
represent.
Okay.
Yeah,
charter
and.
schools and reps, okay. All right. So whoever wants to make this motion, that's what's going in there, because that's what's going to the full board, right? Sorry to be annoying, but
No.
I'm feeling in for
It's
committee,
real.
so I want to say this is what that came out of committee.
Yeah,
This is what
no,
they voted on.
Yeah, it's good. It's important to have, because we were kind of going in circles.
Okay, no problem. So, I can type this in the chat and whoever wants to, John, you made it. I just asked you to like make your motion a little bit more clear. So I'll type this in the chat
Okay.
so you could read it.
Okay.
Okay, just give me a second to type this.
I need a new computer. So Marlene,
Mm-hmm,
to drive you crazy, right?
mm-hmm.
We should just take the language off the top of the resolution.
If it's not driving me crazy, I just need to.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. No, I'm glad that again, this is what we need to do to make sure we got it right. So don't feel.
No, it's not driving me crazy. At the end of the day, it needs to come from the committee has to make the motion, right? Right? Someone has to make the motion and second it from committee. But just so I'm going back to the office and saying, this is exactly what came out of their meeting, and this is exactly what they want to move forward. Just so I have it clear, because I was not clear initially.
No, I think you're right. And that's why I said, let me get the resolution. So I think we should kind of word it like this, and I'm sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Community Board 11 supports CEC 4 resolution in opposition to rising the New York City charter school cap instead of limiting charter school costs to DOE budget and ensuring more oversight and accountability. That's what we're supporting that motion, with the striking of the names of any charter school or individuals representative of charter schools. Right? Is that good?
Yes, if that's what you all agree to and that's what you want the motion to state as is, yes, that's fine. I just need John made it. I need John to say that.
John, you want me to say, can I say it for her, or can I make the motion just so we move it?
Well,
I'll do it.
You can't make the motion, David, you serve as tiebreaker. John has to make the motion.
Okay.
With that
Okay,
language. John, did you hear what David said?
Yes, I did.
Okay, all right.
So I can always share the screen so you can read it, John.
Yeah, I could stop sharing and you could share, David, no problem.
Okay.
No, let's, the idea is to make sure that we do it right, right?
Good, absolutely.
All right, now let me get back to the, share screen. Okay, so we see the resolution here?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Right, so Community Board
It's
11
loading.
supports,
No,
right,
no, just a second. Okay.
I could see it now.
Mhm,
oh, yeah.
mhm.
I also put it in the chat just in case.
Thanks, Rosa. Teamwork, we're trying to get it every way we can.
Okay. Okay.
John, do you have it?
No, actually, not exactly not what David wrote. No, I have the resolution that
Right.
CB.
So John, all we gotta do is
Ah.
say Community Board
Board
11.
11.
I think I have it in the chat here. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I move that the the committee votes on CEC4's resolution in opposition to raising the New York City charter school cap and instead of in favor of limiting charter costs to the DOE budget and ensuring more oversight and accountability. But we would like to vote on this by striking any charter names and any individual names of representatives of charter schools.
I'll second it.
Are we good, Marlene?
Yes, thank you
Okay.
very much.
Thanks, Marlene.
Thanks, Marlene.
You're welcome.
Thanks, John.
Rosa Diaz,
Absolutely, yes.
Angela Donato,
Yes.
David Giordano,
Yes.
John Green,
Aye.
Sage Mason,
I abstain.
Claudia Perez,
I abstain.
Asha Rodriguez,
Yes.
Isaac Scott,
Yes.
Russell Schuler,
Yes.
and Jason Wu.
Yes.
Thank you all.
The motion
You know,
passes.
I think what this also opens for us is that we probably should spend a little bit more time talking about charter schools and just really looking into it. And it's one of the things that Angel had spoken to me about in the fall when we came back, is possibly looking at some of what's happening with the charters and particularly now, and how we could also support some of the charters better in our schools as well. So I want to thank everybody for sharing their thoughts and experiences. Claudia, thank you for sharing your experience in with charters and being really honest about your experience. Again, as Jason said, we're here as an advisory, we volunteer time, but I think we all want to put what we feel is best for our community forward. So I thank everybody for entertaining this tonight. I don't know if we have any new business other than that, do we, Ash? So.
Nope.
That-
I
that-
don't
that-
think, I know Rosa sent me an email about someone presenting, but we weren't able to fit them in.
Well, I know next month I want to invite Central Park East to come and talk about their playground. They have some things that they feel concerned about in terms of play, and I coordinate that with Jessica from Parks and Open Space. So we would have the meeting in this. committee.
Rosa.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Rosa.
Yeah, just in case I send two things your way, Ash. The mayor's office email and also food advocates, just in case if we want to hear from them maybe for next meeting.
Yeah, I saw those. It's just we had so much on the agenda. It's gonna have to be. I meant to respond to you. My apologies. Yeah. So, yeah, I think we're done for this month, and we could reconnect about that for next month. So, if there's no other comments, questions, concerns, I guess we could call the roll, or David could say if we call the roll. I don't know anymore.
Fine, Ash. I just got something from Caleris. I was gonna, but I'll wait.
Oh God. All right. Marlene, could you call the roll?
Sure.
Yes, call the roll quick, Marlene.
Run.
That discussion on charter was 40 minutes. I have to tell you that. That was a long time.
It happens. Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Angela Donadell,
Present.
David Giordano,
Present.
John Green,
Out.
Sage Mason,
Present.
Claudia Perez, Asha Rodriguez,
Present.
Isaac Scott, Russell Schuler,
Present.
and Jason Wu.
Present.
Thank you.
You, Claudia,
think-
provided me
yeah.
here. You missed me.
We
Oh,
got
no,
you,
I
Claudia.
called you.
Thank
No
you.
problem.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody.
Yes,
You
happy
too.
Have a lovely
Valentine's.
evening.
Good night.
You too.
Have a lovely
Good night,
night.
everybody.
Good night.